G'day everyone. I've come up to one of my favourite little creeks. It's a late afternoon session. It's already after 6 p.m. I've probably only got an hour, maybe an hour and a half maximum to try and catch trout in this creek today. I'm starting off with a Super Vibrax bladed spinner, and if that doesn't work, I'll try a little bright coloured minnow, and if that still doesn't work, I'll move to a bunch of worms. The creek is still very high. It's cleared up quite a lot. The clarity is down to close to about a foot to 18 inches, so it's reasonably clear, but there's still a lot of water pushing down these rapids and over through these pools. So I know that worms will work. Those of you that have followed this channel for a while will see that I love fishing with worms. I've made quite a few videos now where I'm trout fishing with worms, but I have to be honest and tell you that I'm a little bit over it at the moment. Well, I won't say I'm over it. I could do it every day, but it's time to change. I'm looking forward to doing a bit more lure fishing now. And if the video appears shaky, it's because I'm recording with these, my HD VCS, high definition video camera sunglasses. The quality isn't as great as what it is when the camera is standing on a tripod. Right now I'm being filmed with an SLR, digital SLR camera, sitting on a tripod. Everything's nice and sharp and still. I can't stand dead still and fish. I need to move my head to see what I'm doing, so the camera gets a bit shaky, but they're convenient. When I take the SLR and the tripod, I've got to film it, walk back, film it, go back and get the tripod, walk back, film it, go back and get the tripod, and I can spend hours just fishing a short section. With these convenient glasses, I can fish all day as I would if I wasn't even wearing a camera on my nose, if you know what I mean. So they're much more convenient. Anyway, let's go and see if I can catch a fish. Got him. There we go. Took a few casts. Not a very big fish. Not a very big fish, but it's a nice little trout. Look around into the sun. Which way's the sun? Nice little brown trout of around high 20s, 27, 28 centimetres, mid to high 20s. Caught on the Xeric minnow, the nice brightly coloured minnow. Thanks for coming to play, buddy. I'll put you straight back. Now, nice little brown trout swimming freely. Just a little bit of slower water here. I've fished a few holes and it's been a bit slow. I started off with that Super Vibrax and didn't do any good. The problem I had with it, because the creek's high, means the holes are deep. Some of the holes are quite deep, and I just think that these trout are sitting at the bottom of the holes because that's where the worms and stuff will be washing up. So I needed to put on a lure that would get down the bottom. The bladed spinners will sink. The Super Vibrax will sink to the bottom. There's no worries with that. But because the creek's flowing so fast, I have to reel it in quite fast to get the blade to spin, which isn't a problem because trout are a very fit fish. But what is a problem is it lifts it straight off the bottom, which is where I believe the fish are. So I changed from the bladed spinner to the diving minnow in the hope that I could get down deeper to the bottom. And in the second hole that I fished with the minnow, bang, I caught a trout. And I will also say that I made probably 10 or a dozen casts into this hole before I caught that fish. And that should be expected in this murky coloured water. It's clearing up, and it's clearer than it was, but it's still quite murky, and the fish won't see the lure as easily. So you can expect to make more casts, and because there's more water, just because the sheer volume of water coming down the creeks, you can expect to make more casts into each one of these pools to catch a fish. Rightio folks, this is the life. The sun's about to set, you can see it on the top of the hills. I've just had a bite. I was just about to tell you that I've taken the lures off and replaced it with worms. I started off, hang on. I mightn't even get a chance to tell you what I've done here because I've got a bite. Basically, I've fished for an hour. I've caught one fish on worms, on lure, sorry, and I got him. I've caught one fish on a lure, and that was that nice little trout that I caught on the Xeric minnow. And then, other than that, for the last hour, I haven't had a touch. It's the only fish that I've seen for an hour or so. So I've put on a bunch of worms, and before I've even had a chance to tell you what I'm doing, this nice little brown trout has come along and said, "G'day." Well, aren't you fat? This fish is fatter than me. Look at the lovely fat shape of that trout. Mate, you're in great nick. You swim off and get even greater. Grow big. Look at that. I fished for an hour with lures. I caught one fish on that Xerac minnow. And over the remainder of the hour, I never had another touch. So I've decided now the sun's about to set. I'll just put a bunch of worms on, and within 2 minutes, and after fishing this hole with the Xerac minnow, within 2 minutes of putting worms on, bang, I've caught a trout. Unbelievable. The trout are loving the worms. This creek has literally been turned upside down in recent floods, and the trout that are in it are just loving worms. Oh, great shot, Joy, great shot. I do love this game. Here we go, here's a nibble. Just a bit of a nibble there then. Oops, and again, and again. Something's nibbling at it. But it's not actually taking the bait. Here he goes. Got him. Another nice little brown trout by the looks of it. Once again, a very fat fish. Very fat fish. Oh wow, oh no, he's hooked in the gills. This is why I don't like using small hooks too often. I'm going to break that off. Just have a look at just how fat that trout is. That trout is keen to get back in the water despite having a bit of blood coming out. Rightio folks, it's been a good 15, maybe 20 minutes since I hooked that fish before and released him, and he was bleeding from the gills. The good news that I've got is that I haven't seen that fish flapping around the surface anywhere. Quite often when you release a fish that's not healthy, if it's not going to make it, it's normally only 5 minutes or so before you start seeing him splashing around, or you'll hear a splash and you'll quickly look to see what it is, and you'll see the fish that you released that was bleeding earlier. When they don't do that, I think it's a good sign. The fact that he can keep his balance and stay down there. Being hooked in the gills or down deep in the throat somewhere may leave him open to infection. So he may have a life where he's not as strong as other fish, but he may well survive. Fish can take an injury and survive just like we can. Us humans can go to war and get an arm shot off or something and come back and survive. Fish are the same. They can quite often. I've actually caught fish that have had deformities around their mouth, around their gills, where they've been caught and they've been released with a bit of trouble and they've survived. I have even caught fish, and nearly always Murray cod, that have been passing the hook out. When I have caught them, they have had a hook coming out their bum, and I have seen that probably 4 or 5 times in my life. The hook has gone right through their system and they are in the process of passing it out, and quite often the hook's not in real great shape as it's coming out. And the fish will eventually wiggle around until it can push that hook back through and completely get rid of it. So quite often the fish do pass the hook when you break the line. It's not all doom and gloom. There is a chance that that fish will die, but there's also a chance that he will survive, and the fact that I haven't seen him floating or splashing around up near the surface yet in the 20 minutes or so is a very, very good sign. Rightio folks, there we have it. I've just got back to the car after about a kilometre or so walk. I've only fished for probably an hour and a half to 2 hours. I fished for about 20 minutes or so before I caught my first fish, and that was a little brown trout on the Xerac minnow in the fluorescent yellow colour. And I chose the fluorescent yellow because the water is still quite off colour. It's clearing, but it's still murky. I then fished for probably 3/4 of an hour after that without a touch. Just before sunset, I'd made the decision to put a bunch of worms on. Bang! bang, instant success. I caught that nice brown trout, not overly long, maybe 27 or 28 centimetres, but very, very fat, in very good condition, which is expected after the flooding rains which we have experienced in this area. I then, 10 minutes later, caught that other brown trout, which was bleeding a little bit, but I didn't see him surface, and hopefully he's going to be okay. If he's not, well then, unfortunately, as they say, shit happens. Sometimes these things happen, but let's just hope that that fish is okay. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. If you've liked what you've just seen, please leave a comment and don't forget to subscribe and share this video around. Thank you very much for your time.